All right, we are going live right now. It is January 13th, 2022. It is Thursday. Excited that we made it here on another Thursday. And I see Maggie. Maggie, haven't seen you in a while. Great to see you. Wonderful. Glad you're active with all the questions and getting with the community. That's what this is all about. So really, really good. Eddie, wonderful to see you. Hope you're doing good there. Melinda, I haven't seen you for a minute. Good to see you, Melinda. Wonderful. Scott is here. Fantastic. I saw your video on just a moment ago, but that's okay. Amber's here. I see you. Great. Lynn. Hey, Lynn. How are you? Good to see you, Lynn. Missed you too. Millicent is here. Wonderful. Loving the commitment. Laura. Sarah's here. Wow. Sarah, how you been? Good to see you. We got some, some of our regular students back online. So that's really, really fun. Scott is here. Wonderful. Still with our hot air balloon. So we know that everything is floating upwards. So that's good. Joseph's here. Thomas, Catherine, Justin. Oh, we're going to go ahead and mute you there, Caroline. Just some background noise. Catherine's here. Justin, Sylvia, Gloria, Nicole, Sabina's here. Rima. Hey, Rima, how are you? Chantel, Harriet's here, and we got more students coming online as we speak. So really, really fun to be here with you this Thursday morning. And I was kind of thinking to myself, what should we talk about today? And after speaking to a couple of students and just kind of getting into an understanding of what's going on for some of the students. And it's great, because sometimes we can relate, even if it's not exactly what's going on in our life. We hear someone else's story and we can relate. And the biggest thing that kind of stuck out for me was the idea of perseverance. Okay. So, a lot of the students were telling all these, stories about what's going on in their lives and what's keeping them from engaging with the business and all kinds of things like that, which is, true for everyone. We all experience these times, but perseverance, and we can change that word for a couple of words. And I definitely want to do that today because I want us to explore these other two words. First of all, persistence and grit. So I'm really loving this word grit. And so really these concepts are doing something despite of the difficulty or delay or, whatever from getting the result that you want. So, let's say we're working out and you have a set way of how you're doing it, or maybe you're lifting weights or whatever. And I don't know, it's getting a little heavy. So do you just stop, or do you either go down some weight, or do you persevere, right? Do you continue anyway, despite that it's heavy, despite that it's a little uncomfortable? There's beautiful Amber. Good to see you in purple. You're going to make us think that it's warm out there now. I mean, we're seeing, but we know it's not the truth. Anyway, so we're back to our topic. So perseverance. So yeah, I was giving an example from the gym. So that idea that, do we just kind of say, okay, we're not going to lift this last set, we're not going to do it, or do we persevere? Do we push through? Do we have enough grit? Okay, I really like this word, this grit. It's kind of a positive idea. Oh, it's zero. To this idea of perseverance. And I think it's important to offer a couple of words, because remember, all these different words might have some attachments in our mind. And so you take the one that you like most. And grit is kind of, maybe we can define it as less used, okay, or less common. We don't hear grit all the time. Perseverance, persevere, push through, go, we have those. So maybe those have some kind of attachments at the back of your mind. And there are a lot of people that have written many, many books about perseverance and grit. And this idea is that we are going to push through and overcome these obstacles and challenges and arrive at our destination, even though it's difficult, because it's difficult. So if we go back to the gym, and we think about, what are our goals when we get onto the gym or get onto the turf. And I'm just using gym because that's hitting close to home for me, but you can use any other example that you want in your mind. So you've signed up and you've decided, I want to lose weight, sculpt my body, be able to do something, gain more range of motion, be more flexible, whatever the goal is. Just like similar with our business, create an income of X amount of money, you've set this goal. And so now as you start stepping into, let's say again, back the gym, the floor, now it's going to be up to you how you move towards that goal. And every time you take on a challenge, like lifting weight, running a certain distance, doing a certain class, getting into some kind of pose, doing something, you are pushing through a challenge. Okay. You are moving in spite of or because of the difficulty. And that is creating for your body a muscle memory, believe it or not, then the next time you hop onto grit, okay, you loved it. Next time you hop into the gym or do the same exercise, the muscle memory is going to be there and it's not going to be as challenging. The strength that you've built up, okay, it's going to be there and you'll be able to lift a little bit higher. And if you're doing reps, you kind of know you either go up on the weight or you just do more reps and then kind of play with that, or lower reps and up the weight. Let's take that into our business. I feel like I'm talking about the gym a lot. And so, now you've set this goal. All right. You said let's go low for the beginning. Let's say we're making $100,000 this year. We're making $100,000. Now, you understand that there are some things that you need to do in order to get to that goal of $100,000. Scott was talking about doing his taxes. That's one that we have to do. Okay. It doesn't get us to achieve the money, but it's one step on that road of being a person living in a state or in a country and having to, obey some rules. And so with our business, right? So we've set this goal, and now what do we need to do? We need to be uploading products all the time. And we had this example here that I think it was that Melinda said she has 900 products up on her store. So we know that she's doing the work. She's putting those products up there, and we can kind of say, okay, where are we at with that? What are the challenges? Now, if it gets uncomfortable, let's say we're looking at Melinda, because I know she was thinking about how many sales. She was talking about how many sales does she have, and she sold X amount of products, and but she wants to sell different products. So now there's going to be that job of going through each listing and reviewing it and checking to see, is it listed properly? Is it gaining traction? Did I use all the keywords that I need? Are people even seeing my listing? We could have thousands and thousands of listing up there, but people don't see them. Okay. So here's the grit. Here's the perseverance. Now I have 900 products up there, and I need to go through 900 products and change something. Let's say, let's just imagine we had a session with our coach. I'm kind of pushing this into having someone review the work. I know that for everyone, it's not going to be the same, but we do have different methods of support here. You can hop on Adam's calls, and you can hop on, the Facebook group, and you have this group afterwards. So there is support for you to understand what's missing. All right. But I'm taking an example from Launch 100. So let's say we got on a call with our coach, and our coach looked at our listings and said, look, you're missing an important keyword on this listing. And you're going to have to go back and change this on each one of those listings in order for those listings to be visible. Now you can make a decision. I remember there were some students here that were saying you can either pull all those listings off and relist them in a different way, in the way that the coach is saying how to do it, or you can go back listing by listing and make the change. Does that require some grit? Does that require some motivation from the inside to even want to sit in front of the computer and do something that you've already marked as done? You said this is done. I gave myself V and a check, and it is done. Well, okay, but the facts, the numbers, we're looking, because somebody was asking about the numbers here at the beginning of the class, the beginning of the call. Well, the numbers are not showing the results that we want. So definitely there's something that we need to review, and we have to go back and look at what we've done and see what we can change. And that's going to require some grit. That's going to require some perseverance. Let's say we were injured, something happened, right? And now we have to go back to learning how to walk or learning how to move our arm in a certain way. I mean, that can be mind bending. Okay, so for us, we are feeling the injury, so we really don't want to lift, let's say it's our arm, we don't want to lift our arm in a certain way because we know that it hurts. So we have direct feedback on what's going on. Our body's sending us this signal, okay, this is happening, you know, and so then we can slowly move through that feedback and transform the injury into something that we can consider success. What happens with the business when there is no direct feedback on what's going on? We have to look for that feedback. We have to be curious enough. We have to have so much self-inquiry and so much grit and perseverance that we are double checking, triple checking. Scott was giving some examples from Adam, and I have had Adam on my calls many times, and we've spoken and exchanged ideas, and he's shared his story. And he used to go back. I mean, the double checking, triple checking, 4 times checking that he had to do on all of his listings and all of his stuff was a lot to get to where he is right now. But he did it. He did it. Okay. And that's going to be the difference. So if we take this out of, let's say, you know, I gave examples of gym, let's go into sports. Okay. Like a basketball player or a soccer player or a football player, or somebody that you like. What sets, you know, a Michael Jordan apart from, or oh my God, I lost his name. It's not Stephen Covey, Stephen Curry, right? Stephen Curry apart from the rest. Okay, what sets them apart? Were they just born with, you know, the ability to shoot from the 3 line and always get it in? Tom Brady, if we go to football, what sets him apart? Why is he different? Why was he able to take a you know, not as significant team and lead them into the Super Bowl the first time that he joined them? You know, what makes those people different? What sets them apart from all the rest? They weren't born different. They don't have an extra limb or an extra part of their brain that's fused, or, you know, something like that, where I think there was someone there who was trying to put these things, oh, well, she doesn't have this or they don't have that. Well, not really. It's basically the grit and the perseverance and the belief that they are going to win it. They're in it to win it. You remember that slogan? That's a big one, right? They're not in it not to lose. Imagine a quarterback or somebody with that kind of, you know, like Curry or Jordan, hop on that you know, the basketball court and go, you know what, guys, let's not lose today. Let's just not lose. All right. Let's, you know, we'll just see. Let's just not lose. Let's just, you know, see what happens. Oh my gosh. Could you even imagine Tom Brady speaking that way? I mean, no way. He's in it to win it. He's like, I am going to prove to the world that I can break all these records, that I can bring it home no matter who's in my team and what, you know, what the background is and how many years I've been with whomever. I'm going to show it in this new way. And I'm just pulling out of the top of my head, you know, these names. You can relate this to anybody that you know, that you admire, and look at their journey. Right. So it is that grit. It is that ability to put in the hours, put in the time, get back on the horse, so to speak. Right. If, you know, we're thinking about Patricia's fire main here, you know, really get into the grit of things, get into the midst of things and do it anyway. You don't want to do it anyway. Right. I mean, I have kids that play sports and all that. And it's like, you know, they'll send them around laps. They can't be late or they can't do, that's how they kind of make them, you know, run laps. And I remember my son is like, I don't want to run laps. And I'm like, you know, do it anyway. Do it because you don't want to do it. Do it. We talk about that a lot. And, you know, when I teach different classes and all that, it's like, and I'll be that teacher that makes the students do the poses they don't like to do. Because there is something in that that's speaking to you. That's going to be your feedback. Why is it that you don't like to do this specific thing? Why? What is it in your body, in your mind, in your, you know, agenda for the day that you just don't want to sit down and do it. What, dark shadow or, thing that you need to overcome in order to be in that space of, all right, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to stick with it no matter what. And I'm going to, even if I can feel it in every place, or my brain is telling me otherwise, or my children are calling, or the schedule, or the kitchen is a mess, or my job is calling me, whatever it is on your plate, do it anyway. Why? Because you know where you're headed and you know where you're going. And you know what? Even do it just because you can. Just because you can. We know that life is so, it changes on so quickly, so rapidly. And think about it. Maybe in 10 years' time, in 20 years' time, you won't have the capability to do the things that you can do now. So do it now because you can do it now. Because you have the space and the availability, or because you don't have the space and the availability, do it. Because you are physically able to do it. Right? If we go back to that idea of injury, there are some times where we're physically incapable. I remember Patricia just a couple of days ago said, I couldn't sit in front of a screen. I couldn't look at anything. I couldn't, and of course I called her to be here anyways. Don't look at the screen, to turn it off, put it beside you, just be here anyways. Right? So even if that is the case, because that is the case, do it anyway. And you know what's funny, or what's cool about that, is that you feel so good after you do it anyway. It's like this sense of accomplishment and achievement that you did it because it was uncomfortable, because you didn't want to do it, and of course, we're not talking about anything that could physically harm you or anything like that. We're talking about the business. So, I don't want my message to be misunderstood here. But as far as the business goes, if you are feeling any type of, I'm in this, I don't have a lot of time, or my life is calling me away from this, or I really, things are just piling up, do it because of that. Okay, because of that. And you know what? That can be your shining light. That can be your feedback, because many of you, and I've heard many, many, many of your stories. We have almost 50 people, and I've heard a lot of stories on these calls. You've come here because of how your life is being run on a daily basis, and that you're not happy about it, that you want to change. So if we don't do anything different, do you think there will be a change? Do you think we'll be able to arrive where we want to be? No, it's all going to look the same. And we already know how that story ends, because we've lived through it and we've been through it. And, that's the whole idea why we're here. We're here to create something different, because it's challenging, because we understand that we are going to need some grit, and we are going to need a lot of perseverance, and we are going to have persistence, and we are going to have to push through those tight spots where, we maybe, don't want to understand exactly that one video that doesn't make sense. And no, go back and watch it. Go back and watch it and do everything that Rachel says on that video, and then see the results in your store. So let's hear from you now. If anyone has, there's Roxana. Hi, Roxana. I'm just looking at who joined. And Liana's here. Hey, Liana. And so, just hear from you. What are your ideas? What struck a chord with you? Which word of these words do you like or dislike? It's okay to like or not like. And I want to say, there are never any wrong answers. We want to hear from you. This is like, we're just bouncing ideas off of each other and using this energy in this group to move forward, to get that stamina, to get that grit, to get the perseverance, and plow through whatever life is going to send our way. So here we got Eddie, the marvelous Eddie. We love to hear from you, Eddie. Go ahead and unmute yourself there.
All right. Hello.
Hi. Hey, Eddie.
Hello, everybody. And wow, you really bellowed out a lot, Karen. And I'm just, you want to, I'm, gosh, and then you went somewhere, you start talking about sports, and you don't really want to tell me. Let me get you there, because I'm a Pittsburgh Steeler. I'm going to tell y'all something. Pittsburgh was not supposed to make the playoffs this year. Now, hear the story good. They were done. That's what all the experts were saying. They don't have a running game. They got an old quarterback with a hurt arm. the players are too young. They will beat the crap. They got a tie game against a team that they should have just beat up on. Everything was going wrong, and the wagon's wheels was falling off with no mule to pull it. That's what Pittsburgh looked like a couple of weeks ago. Now I studied sports because I listened to Karen talking, and I said, okay, yeah, I can go here now, because it's remarkable what can happen when you just do your job. You don't have to do everything. Just do your job. You know, all the coach did was say, we got an opportunity and we're going to take it. They didn't say, well, he didn't listen to all these people talking. Guys, let's get out here and go do what we do. They had to go in Baltimore and beat the Ravens. They hated rival. And they did it in a game that looked like old-fashioned Pittsburgh, 16-13. And the people in Baltimore had their heads down. How did we lose this game? I'm looking at it, I'm still going, how did we win? And then they had to hope the worst team in the league beats one of the better teams. These are things that had to happen. They ain't got no control over that. Guess what? The Jacksonville Jaguars beat the crap out of the Colts. It wasn't even one of they still talk. I said, you never listen to people talk. Your job is to do your job. All he did was coach. Then we had to wait. And then the game that night, the Chargers and the Raiders. I thought I was 16 again, because that's how those games were back then. Throwing the ball, both defenses, they'll sweat all over the guys. You can see the lights on them. You can see all the sweat pouring down because they are tired, trying to get, oh gosh, please, we just need anything. And if the game was tied, Pittsburgh would be knocked out of the playoffs. Guess what? The game tied. I go, oh my God, come on. They tied up 2 seconds before the tie, before the game would end. The kicker comes out and they make a decision. Well, we're going to not go a tie. We're going to win this game. And they kicked it, and Pittsburgh got in the playoffs, and I went, oh my God. They call that serendipity, but I still say this. I'm just a fan. So I did my part. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying I had anything to do with it. What this means in business is this. Do your job. No, serious. Pittsburgh got a coach that has 15 winning seasons in a row. Nobody's ever done that in the history of football. Nobody. And he has 2 Super Bowl appearances. He won one. 15 winning seasons in a row, no matter what happens. So what I always do, I say, oh my gosh, this is teaching me what you do is you have true grit. That's a John Wayne movie. Now she threw all this language out here. Have some grit. I can't stand doing taxes. I hate it. It's this time of year. I shouldn't say it now, because I've gotten that straightened out. That's why I study spirituality. I say, God, come on, you got to help me with this. I went and did my taxes and got all of it and laid it out and smiled while I was doing it. I'm going to give you this little tidbit right here, because there's a lot of bells and whistles you have to worry about. Everybody go, you start looking at it, and I'm hearing people use language like this. Oh, I get overwhelmed. Oh, I get so frustrated. Stop that type of language. No. Tomlin said this. We have some challenges ahead of us, and we're going to meet them head on. That's the coach. We are happy about this opportunity. Even though everybody say you don't have a dog's chance, we are going out there and play the game. We got a game to play. We can control what we can control. I say, that's why I listen to coaches. And I'm saying, I've got an opportunity with this business because I always wanted multiple incomes without me doing all the work, because I've worked 3 jobs and still was broke. Now, I promise you I have. I find, oh, no. But what I'm looking at right here is this low-hanging system, and all the people that I'm looking at as being successful, several incomes coming through that you've worked at. And all you do is this thing I learned when I was 13 years old. And I didn't understand what it meant, but now I do know. I do know now. Chief of the essentials for a meaningful life is the virtue of patience. Now, some people go, oh, wait a minute, not this patience thing. Wait, I'm 66. I've been patiently waiting to meet people like I'm looking at on this thing right here.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful people like this. Anyway, That's it. Find your thing, but stick to itness, staying with it and looking at it and going, it's just a challenge that I'm ready to meet. When you do that, a lot of the things will just melt away. Just like me just doing my taxes, something I always said I had a problem with. No, stop having a problem with it. Get a mentor, find somebody that'll do it. You know, that's what I did. So I'm thankful, and I come on these calls to hear this type of stuff. Of course, some of you saying, no, you get on here to talk. Well, I've talked. It's your turn. Y'all have a great day. Thank you.
Good to hear from you, Eddie. Good to hear from you. And I like your analogies because now we can think about Rachel as our coach, right? We got Rachel as our coach. She's proven her seasons. She's taken, countless amount of students through this, this course of success. And what we have to do is do our job and follow those instructions and just kind of get it done. And so, yeah, it's like you said, there are some things that we might not really like to do. We do them because of that. All of those great coaches, I'm sure there are days where they just don't want to get out of bed and they just don't want to do the things, but they do it because of that and because of those, those traits and those winning streaks and the ability to transform more lives, right? I'm sure the coach that you shared is all like, all right, I'm going to show everyone, I'm going to take this team, Pittsburgh, you said, I'm not that familiar, so I'm just vibing off of what you said, take Pittsburgh and lead them through. And then he gets to show for that, which is exciting. And so that kind of is that leading thing in his mind that makes him do the things he doesn't feel like doing. So that was great, Eddie. Good to hear from you. We got Scott.
Hello. There's so much packed into this. I'm telling you, it's sort of blowing my mind away. One thing I've noticed is that when you talk about grit, I think you're also talking about the intrinsic feeling that you have about a particular aspect of the methodology of what's happening here. I see an analogy here between the method that you experience, that you focus on, and that you're having difficulty with, just keeping going day by day, or needing to have this grit and determination, and the focusing on that and the focusing on the goal. In the same way, I see an analogy between that and the way you view people. You look at the surface or you look at the inside, which is like a living spirit. And you have to decide which of those you're going to focus on, because whichever you focus on will give you radically different results. In the same way, if you focus on the method, and that means to me that you're being distracted from the goal. The only thing with the method and the grit and determination and all those feelings that are associated with it is that either the method you're doing works or it doesn't. And you only view what you're doing in the context of the goal. So that if you're having feelings that require grit and determination to get through, then to me that suggests you don't have enough focus on your goal, because the how-to is irrelevant. Either it works or it doesn't. If it works, continue. If it doesn't, change it. Try anything. It doesn't matter what you try. Just do something different. Learn whatever you have to do, but just refocus on that goal. Because one thing that's come across to me in the last few days very powerfully is that feelings can't be trusted, because feelings are basically the result of past programming. And if past programming has got you to the point today where you're not functioning in a way that you like, then don't trust those feelings. They're liars. They don't serve you. If they serve you, fine. If they don't serve you, ignore them, because they're just the results of past programming. You want to change those feelings, change the programming. And tomorrow's feelings will be different to what you're feeling today. And you're talking about sport and exercise and so forth. I think that's a slightly different scenario, because if you feel physical pain or physical difficulty, after a while, I think whether you're pushing it too hard. It's not a question of being motivated or requiring grit. It's just common sense, in the sense that if I go through this exercise, this routine, and it causes pain, is it going to help me with my goal? And obviously, if you're going to hurt yourself, then it's going to be a distraction from your goal, because you're going to have to spend time recovering, which is going to muck you up all your training, your exercise for days, weeks, or months if you keep on pushing it. I did that once, and I did my Achilles, and didn't help me for a long time because I went through it. I didn't listen to my body. Now I've run several marathons. I know you've got to listen to your body, and if you back off for a day or so, then you come back and you're better. But that's just methodology. I'm not attached to the method, and that's very important. The method is almost irrelevant because it's this, that, the other. It doesn't matter. All that matters is the end point, and that defines everything. Whether you're in the zone or not, whether you're going to be stopped by the wall at the 20-mile mark, it's all the goal. Everything is the goal. Nothing else matters. Honestly, nothing else matters to me. I think that's, it's just a question of focusing on that goal. That's the key. If you're not focused, you'll be distracted by the methodology and the difficulty of doing it. I mean, back to my hero Gollum. He could have been distracted, but nothing would distract him from that goal. He was transfixed. And obviously we don't want to be quite that crazy, but the idea is solid. He did actually achieve his goal. He didn't live long to enjoy that perhaps, but he did at least achieve his goal because he was dead focused. It didn't matter to him how. And he had no moral compass. So that's a slightly different situation, but we still have to be in that to some degree in that mindset where the how-to is irrelevant. So we don't get attached to it. In the same way, we don't get attached to the appearance of someone. We just look at what's inside, and that's all that matters. And if all that matters is the goal, then obviously within moral parameters, then the methodology, we don't get attached to it. And so therefore we don't get run down and emotionalized about it. We just say, oh, works fine. Doesn't work, fine, move on. That's just me. It's all about, to me, just refocusing on the goal.
I love it. I love your passion about this topic and how you can like reel it back in and highlight, which is fantastic. But something that did stick out to me was that what you wrote, and Sandra agrees, that feelings cannot be trusted. I think that's a big one from what you said, because oftentimes we think, oh, our emotions are this way, or what we're feeling or what we're thinking. And if I can just expand that a little bit, right? So it can be the emotions attached to what we need to do to get the task done, to get to that goal. It can be the emotions and the thoughts in our mind that are either weighing us down heavy or causing us to move faster towards that goal. Like you gave an example of running a marathon. There are different paces to running a marathon, right? So your goal, you can say, I want to run it under X amount of time. And then you see, what is keeping you from pushing and accelerating, and what is holding you back. And it's that self-evaluation. And when we understand that our feelings cannot be trusted, or moreover than that we can change our feelings, that we have that ability, that it is within our own power to rewire our brain and to decide what we're going to think today. Like, we don't have to just wait to see what thoughts and what emotions pop up for us today. We can decide. We can say that today, when we sit down in front of the computer, we're going to be excited about uploading those mugs onto our, onto our store. Or like Eddie was sharing, we're going to be excited about our taxes. We're going to get it done because we can. Because you know what? If you're paying taxes, you're making money, and that is fantastic. All right. That's a really good sign. You're paying taxes, you're making money, you can buy houses, you can do things, that is a good sign. And so we can decide, we can change it. We don't have to let the narrative just run on auto in our mind and do whatever it wants, because that's ridiculous. Who would we let do that with our lives? We just let some random stranger that has all these things to say run our lives and make decisions for us? No, but we do that all the time with our brain, and just let these thoughts and random things, pull us away from what we're trying to achieve and how we're trying to do it. So I like that analogy there, Scott. Thank you for bringing that up. We got Lav. Lav, I muted you because there was some background noise, but you can go ahead and unmute yourself if you're ready to talk.
Yes, thank you for that. I'm taking care of a 9-year-old great granddaughter that has COVID. So she just decided to surface and ask grandma a question. Anyway, thank you. And everybody, I love you here. I pop in a little late because, like I said, I was taking care of the great grandbaby today. But what I wanted to say was, I understand totally 100% how Eddie used this analogy. And I definitely like what Scott said, and you too, because what it made me realize is I'm on the right track. These Zoom calls are very vital to me. And when I miss them, I feel like I've kind of I made a left turn when I was supposed to make a right turn. And I'm, listening to the recordings, and they're just as powerful almost to a point. So hearing everybody and seeing everybody, definitely. And one day I'll do a visual. I don't like the way I look right now, but we're not focusing on me. Because of the time I've had to take away from my designing and doing with my store. And I know me now because I had to do a self check. And my self check meant how much time and what do I need to do to focus to make sure that there's nothing in the way to make me have to get up, stop, do this, do that, and then go back. Because when you're designing or looking at words and researching for the mugs and trying to do your designs on Canva, getting interrupted every half an hour, 20 minutes or whatever really can mess with your psyche. So when I ended up with this job, grandma, I'm the only one at home type thing, I knew that I was going to come to a stop. So when my accountability guy calls me last night, I had to let him know. So this weekend is my good weekend. And I took some notes from Scott, and I took some notes from Andy, and I took some notes from our beautiful host there. And I have decided that this is the push the button weekend. So everybody's going to be gone from the house. I'm going to sit down and look at my list of things, what's prioritized. I'm not going to spend more than an hour on it, cup of coffee, and I'm in it. And I'm just like Eddie said, I'm in it to win it. So this weekend, it's my plan to have my launch this weekend. And I have my first 10 products, yes. And as I was going through the niches, you have to really focus there because you could get really carried away and you'd be doing too many things at one time. So I had to learn in my summary here of my self-analysis, what was I really, really good at? How much do I determine my focus level to be? If it's 100%, don't bother me. The door's closed. I'm in that room all day. If it's 50%, I listen to my videos. But I'm doing something every day toward the goal. So I could feel my mind changing and I could feel that I'm on the right path. So I definitely have to thank Scott for saying that certain word about Golan, and that just made me realize, whoa, wait a minute, I read about him too. He never was able to enjoy what he put his effort into. I don't want to go down like that. But if it happens that way, I want to leave a legacy. And I think through this program, I believe through this program, let me change my wording there. I believe through this program that's where my legacy will start. And woo woo for everybody. Everybody. We're all going to get together one day as soon as this COVID madness goes away. We're going to get together. Yeah. So thank you. Keep the videos coming. Scott, I look forward to seeing you. I look forward to seeing Patricia. Eddie, don't you ever stop talking, and just keep everybody going. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Lav. So great to hear from you. Wishing health to your granddaughter there. Sending lots of love and healing vibes to your house. And what a beautiful announcement you made. You made a commitment in front of a large group of people with courage in your heart. We can hear it, with grit, with like commitment. You're like, I'm gonna get it. You said, I'm in it to win it, right? We use that quote in the beginning. And so that is something that is admirable. We can feel it, we can sense it. It's an emotion that can be shared. And we're here and we're excited to witness your success story, and how beautiful that you have this vision of where you're going and how you're going to get there. And you've committed to this program in order to get there. So I'm really excited. And we got Jewel that shared about being injured. Jewel, we wish you lots of health, and let's hear from you now.
Oh boy, this was a good one, Karen. I got to tell you, the motivation levels are rising every day, because I have found excuses since I've had this surgery to that's my go-to when I don't feel like doing something. My arm hurts. I'm right-handed. It's my right hand. I have to take pain medicine. I can't do too much. There was always the go-to. And then I said, well, what about the videos? You don't need your arm for the videos. You can just turn it on and, you can listen and you can learn some things. And the things I've been learning have been really so priceless for me, because I'm not doing that as much, like looking for an excuse, because I'm in it to win it. And you can't win if you don't play, correct? You can't win if you don't play. So I figured, okay, I'm in it. So I have to do the things that keep me focused, keep me centered, keep the grit. when you feel like that arm, you know, it's kind of bothering me, but it's going to get better. And when it gets better, I want to be in a better position to enjoy the things that I'm doing now, so that later, you know, I don't have that excuse and I can be proud that I pulled through in spite of having, you know, the excuse to not kind of do so well. So I just really appreciate this topic. It's all of these, everyone here is just so amazing with their words of wisdom. It's keeping me going, guys. I do whatever I can not to miss a meeting, because every time I walk away from one of these meetings, I feel more empowered. And I think everybody else does too, because I can tell when they get on, they have so many positive things to say. So that's really all I had to say is thank you, guys. You're keeping me motivated, and I wish us all success. Thank you.
Thank you, Jewel. How wonderful. That was beautiful. And we're also, like I said, we're wishing you a lot of healing. And I love how you admitted how powerful and really courageous to admit that you were giving yourself these excuses. And you said it in front of all of us. And that, wow, that's like, you know, it's a huge bound towards your goal, because now you see it, you're holding yourself accountable. You're not saying, well, because I mean, that's a valid, you just went into surgery and your arm is hurting and you're on pain meds. I mean, that is as valid as it gets, right? But you're like, no, but I don't need my arm to listen. I don't need my arm to learn more things. I don't need my arm to show up to this call. I don't need my arm to show up to, you know, Adam's calls or whoever, whatever. You know, you can do it because of the arm. You know what? Because now you have the extra time, and now you actually have to stay indoors and you can't do as much as you could before that surgery. So it's like you're using this as your push forward versus saying, I'm just going to go into that victim loop, right? Well, I got this is hurting, and justify it. You're going up the ladder and saying, okay, this is my life. This just happened to me and I accept it. And now because of it, I am moving towards my goals to create a better future for yourself and for your family, because you know that you're coming to the other end of that. And I loved how you said, when you get there, you want to already be, you know, ready to run that marathon, ready to do all the things. So that is just beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing and for being so open and vulnerable. We really, really appreciate it. Karen, almost my name twin, almost.
Hi, so it's Karen from Australia. Look, this is my first time to speak because I've only been in the program for about 4 weeks now, but yeah, getting there with both feet. Yeah, because of the time zone, I sort of don't pop on every morning. I like to listen to the recordings after I work. Eddie, I love what you were referring to with regard to you're not listening to those naysayers that say you can't do it, because quite often they're filled with the ignorance of the possibilities. They don't understand. You know, they have that doubt because it's online. They're filled with that culture of get a real job. Yeah. And so it's so important for us to keep that visualization of what are we either running away from or what are we running towards? You know, so Scott talks about the goal, you know, keeping that goal is, and being able to understand how, you know, what do you need to do that will keep that goal fresh? You know, to have that goal up here, what's going to keep that fresh for you? Is it a visualization board? Is it an intention board? To always have that in your, you know, in front of you to see. But also important, like these calls, you know, take the time to increase that mindfulness and to believe in yourself, because that will counteract all of those naysayers. Yeah, if you can just think about who do you want to be, where do you want to be, and you know, what do you want to have? It's that phrase that I heard you know, probably a few days ago, the be, do, and have. You know, be that person and do what you need to do in order so that you can have. And Lav and Jewel, I hope that I've said your names right. Love your enthusiasm. I was so inspired by you, Jewel. That's wonderful. Yeah, what are you good at? And I think Lav was saying, it doesn't matter what you do, but do something. Have that time. Lock yourself away if you have to, but do something, even if it is, you know, listening to those videos and just constantly changing that mindset. Yeah, it's just, it's so important, because we have people around us that might not understand, and or make them understand, rather than take into that negative feedback that you might be getting, or change their mindset too. Hell, they might want to sell something as well. So yeah, and so I just wanted to pop on and say that thank everybody for all of the wonderful inspiration that you're giving to new people like me. So thank you.
Wonderful, Karen. So excited that you spoke up and that you're feeling comfortable and welcome to speak. That's what we want to create here, and I think that we do. And you have such a wonderful way of expressing yourself and sharing your ideas and your thoughts. So really, really appreciate you speaking today, and hopefully we'll hear more from you as these days pass.
Thank you.
And everything that you said is really exactly what we are speaking about, and really just so encouraging, and with a loving, nurturing kind of feeling to it. So it's really, really great to listen to you. This was a wonderful, wonderful talk. And I like how the word grit kind of stuck with the majority of everybody that spoke. I think you singled out grit as your favorite word just from listening to you. If you didn't know it, then that's kind of what stood out here. And so wonderful. Now, after this call, the amazing community that has been created here has set up a help desk kind of thing, or a help call. And so, of course, we talk about the mindset, just like Karen said here. We talk about the mindset on these calls, and we work with really becoming the leader that we want to be, which is exactly what Karen was talking about. And so after this call, so I'm going to go end meeting for all. Your screen is going to go black. What you need to do is just hop back on to the call, and you'll have a wonderful group of students that are willing to explain the how-tos. So, I know lastly, Karen was referencing the naysayers, but we also have those points where we kind of, we think that things are hard for us, or complicated, or challenging. And so right for that, you have the help of our experienced students here that are willing to help you through and really move forward with grit and perseverance. So hop back on if you can. Tomorrow, the fabulous John Lavinia will be here on Fun Friday. So wear a fun tie, wear a fun shirt, wear a fun hat, share your animals, a joke. We really like jokes on Fun Friday. So find something to share, and let's get started on our weekend right. We'll see you all here. I will see you next week, and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you all.